Day 15 in the month of October. Reading from the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 1 to 33. New Living Translation. It says, Proverbs 15 is a collection of wisdom sayings that focus on the power of words, the importance of humility, and the value of wisdom in daily life. Each verse is packed with practical advice that can be applied to modern situations, offering insights into how we should live wisely, treat others kindly, and honor God in our choices. Let's break this chapter down and explore its teachings through everyday illustrations to help us understand how these ancient truths apply today. Verses 1 to 2. The power of words. A gentle answer deflects anger, but harsh words make tempers flare. The tongue of the wise makes knowledge appealing, but the mouth of a fool belches out foolishness. Now imagine a heated argument at work. A coworker blames you for a mistake. You have two choices: respond calmly or lash out. If you respond gently, you diffuse the tension. A harsh reply, however, might escalate the conflict, making the situation worse. Words have power. Choosing to respond gently in conflict can prevent arguments from spiraling out of control. Wisdom teaches us that kindness and self-control often accomplish more than angry retorts. Verse 3. God's omniscience. The Lord is watching everywhere, keeping his eye on both the evil and the good. Picture security cameras monitoring every corner of a building. The cameras don't miss a single detail. In the same way, God sees all our actions, both good and bad. This verse reminds us that we are never out of God's sight. He knows our hearts and sees everything we do. Whether we are doing good or wrong in secret, God is aware, and this truth should inspire us to live righteously. Verse 4. The power of gentle words. Gentle words are a tree of life. A deceitful tongue crushes the spirit. Think about how you feel when someone gives you a compliment versus when someone criticizes you unfairly. Kind words can uplift and energize, but deceitful or hurtful words can discourage and bring deep sadness. Gentle words nurture relationships and build others up. We must be mindful of how our words affect others, realizing that they can either bring life or harm. Verses 5 to 7. The importance of wisdom and discipline. Only a fool despises a parent's discipline. Whoever learns from correction is wise. There is treasure in the house of the godly, but the earnings of the wicked bring trouble. The lips of the wise give good advice. The heart of a fool has none to give. A child who refuses to listen to their parents' guidance may face consequences later in life. However, a child who values their parents' discipline learns lessons that set them on the path to success. Correction and discipline, though uncomfortable, are necessary for growth. We should be willing to accept guidance from others, especially from those who love us and want the best for us. Additionally, wisdom brings spiritual richness, while foolishness leads to trouble. Verses 8 to 9. God's view of righteousness and wickedness. The Lord detests the sacrifice of the wicked, but he delights in the prayers of the upright. The Lord detests the way of the wicked, but he loves those who pursue godliness. Imagine someone who lives dishonestly, but gives large donations to charity to cover up their misdeeds. God is not impressed by outward religious acts if the heart is corrupt. On the other hand, a humble person who lives righteously brings joy to God, even if they don't make grand gestures. God looks at our hearts, not just our actions. He is pleased when we live upright lives and seek him sincerely. Empty rituals or sacrifices mean nothing if we are not pursuing godliness. Verses 10 to 12. The consequences of ignoring wisdom. Whoever abandons the right path will be severely disciplined. Whoever hates correction will die. Even death and destruction hold no secrets from the Lord. How much more does he know the human heart? Mockers hate to be corrected, so they stay away from the wise. A person who refuses to follow road signs on a dangerous mountain road is likely to drive off the edge. Ignoring warnings leads to disastrous consequences. Ignoring correction leads to spiritual and sometimes physical destruction. We must be willing to receive advice and follow the right path, knowing that God sees our hearts and wants the best for us. Verses 13 to 15. The influence of our attitude. A glad heart makes a happy face. A broken heart crushes the spirit. A wise person is hungry for knowledge, while the fool feeds on trash. For the despondent, every day brings trouble. For the happy heart, life is a continual feast. Two people could face the same difficult situation, but one remains joyful and optimistic, while the other is consumed with negativity. The first person enjoys life despite the hardships, while the second feels weighed down every day. Our attitude greatly affects how we experience life. A joyful heart finds blessings in every situation, while a negative mindset only sees trouble. Wisdom teaches us to seek knowledge and have a positive perspective, which enriches our lives. Verses 16 to 17. Contentment with little. Better to have little, with fear for the Lord, than to have great treasure and inner turmoil. A bowl of vegetables with someone you love is better than steak with someone you hate. A modest meal shared with a loving family is more satisfying than a feast in a hostile environment. Wealth without peace brings no true happiness. Contentment and love are more valuable than material wealth. We should seek to live in peace and harmony, even if we have little, rather than chasing riches that come with turmoil. As we study this chapter, we are challenged to evaluate how we use our words, how we respond to correction, and how we treat others. The wisdom of Proverbs can transform our relationships and our walk with God if we apply its truths to our daily lives. Verses 18 to 19. The effects of temperament and diligence. A hot-tempered person starts fights. A cool-tempered person stops them. A lazy person's way is blocked with briars, but the path of the upright is an open highway. Imagine two people encountering a problem at work. The first, quick-tempered and impatient, reacts harshly, creating tension with colleagues. The second, calm and patient, seeks to resolve the issue peacefully, creating harmony in the workplace. Similarly, a lazy person who avoids hard work struggles with setbacks, while a diligent person clears the way to success. Patience and a cool temperament bring peace and resolution, while uncontrolled anger leads to conflict. Diligence opens up opportunities, but laziness traps us in difficulties. Proverbs encourages us to cultivate both patience and perseverance. Verses 20 to 21. The influence of wisdom on family life. Sensible children bring joy to their father. Foolish children despise their mother. Foolishness brings joy to those with no sense. A sensible person stays on the right path. A child who works hard and makes wise decisions brings pride to their parents, while one who acts recklessly causes heartache. A wise person finds satisfaction in doing what's right, while the foolish take pleasure in risky, irresponsible behavior. Our actions and choices have a profound effect on our families and loved ones. Wisdom leads us to live in a way that honors our parents and brings them joy. Foolishness, on the other hand, shows a lack of respect for those who care about us. Verses 22 to 23. The value of wise counsel and timely words. Plans go wrong for lack of advice. Many advisors bring success. Everyone enjoys a fitting reply. It is wonderful to say the right thing at the right time. Imagine someone planning to start a new business. If they go ahead without seeking advice, they may face unexpected challenges. But if they consult experts and listen to multiple perspectives, their plans are more likely to succeed. Similarly, saying the right words at the right moment can uplift, encourage, and provide clarity. Seeking advice from others is essential for success, especially in complex decisions. Wise counsel can help us avoid mistakes, while good communication, speaking timely and appropriate words, can strengthen relationships and bring joy. Verses 24 to 26. God's protection and justice. The path of life leads upward for the wise. They leave the grave behind. The Lord tears down the house of the proud, but he protects the property of widows. The Lord detests evil plans, but he delights in pure words. A person who lives wisely seeks God and is lifted up, while those who live in pride face ruin. The widow, vulnerable and often overlooked, is protected by God, while those who devise evil plans will ultimately face his judgment. God honors those who walk the path of wisdom and righteousness, lifting them up from destruction. He is a defender of the vulnerable, and he delights in purity and truth. Pride and evil, however, are met with his opposition. Verses 27 to 28. The dangers of greed and the value of careful speech. Greed brings grief to the whole family, but those who hate bribes will live. The heart of the godly thinks carefully before speaking. The mouth of the wicked overflows with evil words. A greedy person who is always seeking more, even through dishonest means, creates stress and trouble for their family. However, someone who rejects bribes and lives with integrity brings peace. Similarly, a person who speaks carefully shows wisdom, while someone who speaks without thinking often causes harm. Greed never benefits anyone. It brings grief to families and leads to unethical decisions. We should value integrity and avoid dishonest gain. Also, the wise carefully consider their words, while foolish, hasty speech can hurt others and lead to trouble. Verses 29 to 30. The blessing of righteousness and good news. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayers of the righteous. A cheerful look brings joy to the heart. Good news makes for good health. A person who lives wickedly may feel distant from God, unable to connect with him in prayer, while the righteous find comfort knowing that God listens to their cries. Similarly, the joy that comes from a friendly smile or hearing good news has a positive effect on the spirit, lifting burdens and improving well-being. Righteous living draws us closer to God, who hears our prayers. Additionally, simple acts like smiling or sharing uplifting news can bring joy and even improve someone's mental and physical health. We are called to be bearers of good news and joy. Verses 31 to 33. The importance of humility and correction. If you listen to constructive criticism, you will be at home among the wise. If you reject discipline, you only harm yourself. But if you listen to correction, you grow in understanding. Fear of the Lord teaches wisdom. Humility precedes honor. Imagine a student who listens to their teacher's feedback and applies it, improving over time. Another student, however, ignores correction and continues to struggle. The first student eventually excels, while the second fails to grow. Similarly, a person who humbly seeks God and submits to his ways is honored, while the proud stumble. Humility is key to gaining wisdom. We must be willing to accept correction and learn from others, recognizing that discipline helps us grow. Fearing the Lord, revering and respecting his ways, is the foundation of true wisdom. Honor comes to those who embrace humility and wisdom, while pride leads to downfall. Conclusion. Proverbs 15 teaches us about the significance of our words, the importance of seeking wisdom, and the necessity of humility before God. Every verse calls us to live thoughtfully, making choices that honor God, bring peace to our relationships, and lead to personal growth. By applying these principles to our lives, we can navigate everyday challenges with wisdom and grace. We can learn to speak with kindness, act with integrity, and pursue wisdom and godliness. This chapter invites us to examine our hearts and strive for lives that are pleasing to God. May the good Lord bless his word in our hearts and help us to be doers of his word. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Kindly subscribe and turn on post notification for more prayers and Bible reading. God bless you.